All right, so we're starting lesson 23. This is an introduction to circles. So first of all, we're going to go over some vocabulary. Everybody knows that a circle is that little round shape, right? It is not, I repeat, a not polygon. It's not a polygon. It has no sides, right? It is simply rounded everywhere it goes. So let's identify a few vocabulary words. When I say the center, I'm talking about that piece right there, okay? It's exactly the center, the middle, if you will, okay? Then when I say on the interior, I mean literally inside. If I say, yeah, I am indeed. Okay. Therefore, the exterior is everything outside of the circle. When I say radius, I mean the distance from the center to any point on the circle. So this is a radius, but also this over here would be a radius. Okay? So anything from the center to the outside. Next, the diameter is simply the distance from one side of the circle through the center to another side of the circle. Okay? That would be the entire diameter. Okay, those should just be review of the vocabulary terms for you. Is anybody confused on any of my definitions? Okay. Goody, goody. So, start into examples because it is literally that easy. Example 1. We're just naming parts of this circle. So I'm going to try to blow this up a little bit and I'll just point at them and y'all guys can write them in on your notes, okay? So, knowing that this is a point on the exterior of the circle, okay? It should be boldface. I don't know why they didn't do that. But if I say, what is segment CA? What are you going to tell me? It's a radius, right? So in your notes, we should say segment CA is a radius. And here I say, what is segment BA? Diameter, right? So segment BA, again, segment BA is a diameter. Now, let's see if y'all guys know this one. What is segment DE? It's in the interior, yes, but not what I was asking. I haven't went over that vocabulary word yet, but I was just wondering if y'all remembered. Take a look at it. DE. It connects one side of the circle to the other side of the circle. I will give you a hint. The diameter is a special kind of one. What'd you say, Jaden? No. Diameter goes through the center. Okay, so looking back at this, DE, called a chord, just connects from one side of the circle to another side of the circle. The diameter is just a special type of chord that goes through the center. Okay, so it's called a chord. DE is called a chord. And I'll spell that for you here. DE is a C-H-O-R-D, chord. Okay. Now, another quick review. If I say, what is the perimeter of a circle? What is that called? It's called the circumference. Good. So, circumference definition is simply the perimeter of a circle. And while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and give you the formulas for circumference. Circumference is either 2 times the radius multiplied by pi, or circumference can also be told as the diameter multiplied by pi. Why are these the same? Let's look back at our definition of what a radius is. A radius connects from the center to the outside of a circle. Notice what the diameter is made out of. It's made out of how many radiuses? 2, right? So I'm saying 2 radiuses multiplied by pi will give me the circumference. Here I just say the diameter multiplied by pi would give you the circumference. So these are the exact same thing. It just depends on what they give you in the problem that you would use each of those formulas. Okay? If they give you the radius, obviously use 2 pi r. Okay? If they give you the circumference, use diameter times pi. It just depends on whichever one they give you. Okay? All right. On your calculator, if you don't know this already, there is a pi button. So if in the problem it says use the, it'll say one of two things. It'll either say use 3.14 for pi, which is an approximation, okay? So anytime you says use 3.14 for pi, make sure that your answer says approximately. Now, anytime you use pi, actually, you're going to end up writing it approximately because you can never get an exact answer. Pi continues on forever. So if I want to use pi, I use second, press second, which will give you that little arrow-looking thing, and then you press the arrow-looking thing right here. Okay, so did everybody get the pi? Okay, so I can use that for pi for my calculations, and I just press multiplied by, I don't know, 5 or whatever. It'll give you this decimal number. Now you got to keep in mind this number continues forever, but your calculators can only go to, I think, 10 digits. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, your calculators can only do 10 digits. So this is an approximation. If it does not tell you what you're rounding to, I repeat, if it does not say round to the nearest whatever, we're going to round to the nearest 100th. Okay, so in this case it would be 15.71. If it doesn't tell you what to round to, we'll go to the nearest 100th. That's our default, okay? Keep that in mind when you go on. Any questions on pi? It's the third time you've sharpened your pencil. Okay, example 2. This is just using our new formula to find the circumference. So keeping in mind that our formula is 2 pi r. Okay, these are the same. The 2 pi r is just how I learned it. I like to put 2 and r together because that's the same as diameter. But it's 2 pi r. The reason they say 2 pi r is because pi is a constant and 2 is a constant. So in proper form, we would see the two numbers out front. But remember, this is 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by radius. All right, so it tells us that our radius of the circle is 14 inches. Okay, the radius of the circle is 14 inches, so all I have to do is plug in. Circumference is 2 pi times 14. Okay, all I have to do is type that in. So I take my handy-dandy calculator, 2 pi, and then multiply that by 14. And blam, it spits out an answer. Again, if it does not tell you what to round to, you will write the hundredths place. So it's 87.96. Whoops, 87. Now I told you to use pi this time around because in that problem it says use 3.14. I want to show you what the difference in your answer would be. So if I use 3.14 for pi, it'd be 2 multiplied by 3.14 multiplied by 14. So I'm going to type that in my handy-dandy calculator. Okay, so somebody already did it. We get 87.92. And look at the difference in those answers. It's this very small difference, right? 0.04, but there is a difference in those answers. So if it tells you use 3.14, you have to use 3.14 because you'll get the wrong answer if not. So follow your directions. And if it tells you to use pi, then you'll use pi. More often than not, it'll tell you to use 3.14. Okay? Questions there? Okay, proper answer for this example was 87.92 because it told us to use 3.14. Now, next one is for the area of a circle. Okay, that is just my annotation for area of a circle. I wish Christian was here for this one because he loves my annotations for area, sarcasm included. So, area of a circle is pi r squared. Good. Pi times radius squared. Okay, so no matter what our radius is, we'll just drop it into that point. What if they give us diameter? How am I going to find my radius? I divide it by 2, right? So I'll just get rid of it. We're going to do the next example. It's example 3, and it doesn't take much room, so I'm going to fit it in right down here. It says use 3.14 for pi. Okay, so we also have to keep in mind that this is when we get done, it's going to be units squared. Whatever our unit is, it's going to be units squared. Okay? Because we're doing r squared, our radius will be in some sort of unit, so our answer will be in some kind of squared. So it gives us an example. Here's our circle. Puts a little dot in the middle and it runs that out to the edge. It says this is 2 meters. Okay, so example A says that is 2 meters. It wants us to find the area of this triangle. So to find the area of this, area of this circle. To find the area of this circle, we go 2 times what? 2 squared times 3.14, right? So I can plug this in to my calculator. I get 4 times 3.14. 4 times 3.14, 12.56. So our final answer would be 12.56. What is our label? Meters squared. Really simple. Y'all have probably seen all of this before. So hopefully it's just a review. All right. Example B gives us something slightly different. It gives us another circle, but this time it gives us a total diameter, kind of drawing this one small, sorry, of 26. So I need to find the radius. My diameter is 26, therefore what is my radius? 13. I just divide it by 2, right? And then I can plug into my formula. The area of this circle will be 13 squared, multiplied again, we're using 3.14 in our calculation. So 13 squared. There's another button for x squared. If you look right here, it has x squared. So if you just tap that button, it gives you the squared button. When you multiply that by 3.14, hit enter, 530.66. So 530.66 what? Inches squared, because our label was in inches. So inches squared. Any questions? Okay, last example then, and we will be done. Example 4. It gives us application of urban design and planning. A dog park has been constructed with a circular fence surrounding the park. The fence has a radius that is 50 yards long. So I'm going to write that down. Radius is 50 yards. Next it says use 3.14, so I'm going to use 3.14. Question A. It says, what is the distance around that the fence is to the nearest yard? So I'm looking for what? Circumference, right? Because the distance around is perimeter, therefore it is circumference. So my circumference is either 2 pi r diameter times pi. So in this case it gave us radius, so it's 2 multiplied by pi, which is 3.14, times r, which is 50. What does that give me? Somebody already do it? Say again? 314, right? Now keep in mind, since we're using 3.14 rather than actual pi, it's always an approximation, right? Next, I have to put my label. Since it's just circumference, my label will be yards, just yards. On part B, it asks approximately how many square yards of sod would be needed to completely cover the area inside of the fence with grass. So it's asking us for what? Area, right? Because we're covering something, it's area. If we're fencing something, it's circumference. If we're covering something, it's area. So the formula for area is pi times radius squared. So my pi is 3.14. My radius was 50. So I got to square that. So I take 50, I square it, I multiply it by 3.14. So I'm going to have to use approximations. So it's approximately 7,850 what? Yards squared. And that's my best approximation for that answer. And we're done. Call, give me a yee yee.